Hare Rama, hope the screen is visible. Okay. So from today we are starting the course on Tattvavaada. This course is called Fundamental Principles of Tattvavaada. And as all of you know, the course will have 2 sessions per week on Saturday evening and Sunday morning. So let's begin with prayers. Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha, Shri Parama Guru Bhyo Namaha, Shri Adi Guru Bhyo Namaha, Shri Mula Guru Bhyo Namaha, Shrimad Ananda Tirtha Bhagavad Padacharya Bhyo Namaha, Shri Vedavyasaya Namaha, Shri Bharati Namaha, Shri Saraswati Namaha, Shri Vayave Namaha, Shri Brahmane Namaha, Shri Mahalakshmi Namaha, Shri Narayanaya Namaha, Shri Haraye Namaha, Mokshaprada Shri Vasudevaya Namaha, Krishnaya Vasudevaya Hare Paramatmane, Pranatakleshanashaya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato grantamudirayet. Narayanam suragurum jagadekanatham bhakta priyam sakala loka namaskritam cha traigunya varjitam ajambhipumadhyamisham vande bhavagnam amarasura siddha vandyam. अविकाराय शुद्धाय नित्याय परमात्मने सदैकरूपरूपाय विष्णवे सर्वजिष्णवे नमो हिरण्यगर्भाय हरये शंकराय च वासुदेवाय ताराय सर्गस्थित्यन्तकारिणे एकानेकस्वरूपाय स्थूलसूक्ष्मात्मने नमः अव्यक्तव्यक्तरूपाय विष्णवे मुक्तिहेतवे सर्गस्थितिविनाशानां जगतोऽस्य जगन्मयः मूलभूतो नमस्तस्मै विष्णवे परमात्मने. So this course is basically for beginners and everyone who wants to enhance their knowledge of Dvaita Vedanta and Madhva Siddhanta in general. So this will totally extend for about 8 months and there will be about 40 to 50 sessions, and you will be familiar with the basic principles of Tattvavaada and the various works written by Sri Madhvacharya and other Madhva philosophers. And you will also know the objectives of spirituality and philosophy as per Tattvavaada and what we consider as the highest goal to be achieved and how this can be practically applicable. And you will also learn the basics of the various darshanas or other philosophies in Sanatana Dharma and their relation to Dvaita Vedanta in general. And you will also learn about the achara of a Bhagavad Bhakta, the basic prayers and stutis, and how you can learn the shastras and how you should interpret them. And you will also learn basically the differences between Tattvavaada and other philosophies. So the contents of this course will also be available on our YouTube channel's playlist with the same name, and the link is here and you can find them on our YouTube channel. So whenever we conduct any of these classes, whoever cannot attend them or whoever has not been able to participate directly in them can join us on YouTube and watch them live and the recordings as well. So giving an introduction to Madhva Siddhanta in general, basically one must know about the three most important gurus of our sampradaya as of now. That is mainly Sri Madhvacharya, then Sri Jayatirtha and Sri Vyasatirtha. So Sri Madhvacharya is the main proponent of Dvaita Vedanta, who was born in the 13th century, and he is the avatar of Pranadeva, who came here to give the Siddhanta of Tattvavaada and propagate it. And he wrote 37 granthas or texts known as the Sarvamula Granthas. These granthas are the ones which contain most of the basics of Dvaita philosophy, and his works are the root of Tattvavaada in general. And all other acharyas later wrote commentaries over them and have explained them, and they have but the root of Siddhanta comes from Sri Madhvacharya's works, as he is the chief philosopher of our sampradaya. And then came Sri Madhvacharya's last direct disciple to become a Peethadipati, who was Sri Jayatirtha. And he's also popularly known as Tikacharya because he wrote a lot of commentaries on the works of Sri Madhvacharya, especially explaining them from the Nyaya point of view. So Nyaya is one of the 6 Astika Darshanas of Sanatana Dharma, and they are one of the 6 major darshanas, and the Nyayikas have certain interpretations, and some of certain Nyayikas are atheists also. They do not acknowledge the presence of God or a supreme being, and nonetheless the Nyaya philosophy comes from the rishis and can be very well interpreted to favor our Siddhanta as well. But at one point there was a lack of popularity for Dvaita Vedanta and other philosophies due to the prominence of Nyaya. So this was cut down by Jayatirtharu and his influence. Then after the time of Jayatirtharu in the 15th century, Sri Vyasatirtharu arrived, and he was responsible for giving the most and maximum popularity to Dvaita Vedanta. And his prominent disciples are Kanakadasa, who was one of the famous Haridasas, and he is also notably, he was a Shudra by birth, but is one of the most famous Madhva Haridasas. And his other disciples also included Sri Vijayendra Tirtharu, another scholar. And his main achievements are that he wrote commentaries on the Brahma Sutras of Madhvacharya, and he wrote the Nyayamrita. The Nyayamrita is one text which elaborately refutes Advaita Vedanta in general, and the Nyayamrita also is known for the way in which it attacked the Advaitins, that they had to write several counter refutations of it, and those were again refuted by us. And over time, this actually led to a series of debates and writing books against each other by both Dvaitins and Advaitins for the next 2-3 centuries, and that finally ended with Dvaita Dyumani of Sri Hulagesh Srinathacharya. Achyutaya Namaha, Anantaya Namaha, Govindaya Namaha. Shri Krishnarpanamastu. So any questions till now? And in our Telegram group, we had shared a couple of articles and one YouTube video of ours where we had explained about the strongest argument for the existence of God by Sri Madhvacharya. So any doubts so far? And assuming that most of you would have read it, till now, any doubts on the with regard to the basics?
Hari Srinivasa, am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, my doubt was about the argument for the existence of Bhagavan given by Srimad Acharya.
What is it?
Yes, but it says nothing about consciousness of the fundamental cause of all reality.
The argument given in Tattva Sankhya is about the existence of a tattva called Brahman. It's not about consciousness and other issues which we will discuss later. That will be subsequently discussed. The argument was mainly about the concept of a supreme being or some entity responsible for being the cause of all causes.
Indeed. But in Tattvavaada, Narayana is a personal, personal entity with consciousness and form. So that is not proven by the
That will
argument.
be explained later on, and some of it has been explained in the Granthas of Sri Jayatirtharu also, and even
Okay,
Sri
thank you.
Raghavendra Swami.
Thank you. Hari Srinivasa.
No problem.
Hare Rama, who would be our teacher in this course? What was the name again?
The course will be conducted by Sri Vishwadhiraja Tirtharu.
Okay. And
Hare Srinivasa, is this does this course cover any major works of any major acharya in Tattvavaada?
Could you elaborate?
Meaning, it could can does it cover any works like Tattva Sankhya or Vishnu Tattva Nirnaya or any of the works, Pramana Paddhati, any of it?
No specific granthas as such will be covered here. It will be more about the entire philosophy of Dvaita Vedanta in general and the basics of it, so that one can easily learn those granthas. But it's not going to exclusively deal with any one of them.
Okay, thanks. Hare Srinivasa.
also, how long will each session be in general?
Usually each session will be about 1 hour, but there will be variations in between. And as of now, Sri Vishwadhiraja Tirtharu hasn't joined us yet, so there will be a slight delay today.
Okay.
Hello, Namaskara. Is my voice audible?
Yes.
So actually, many of the speakers might know, many of the listeners might not know who the speaker is. Matlab, the name is known, but who Swamiji is and all that. Is it able to, you can give some introduction to Swamiji?
Yeah, he belongs to the Guru Parampara of Pejavara Mata, and he was given Sannyasa Diksha by Sri Vishwesha Tirtha Swamiji in 2016, and he is the Guru of most of us and are the moderators of Achyuta Bhakti Deeds. And he is
Okay, thank
actually an
you.
engineer by profession, and he was previously a sannyasi at ISKCON too before he became a Madhva actually.
Hare Rama. I heard one video. There mention one debate was going happen between one Karapatri Swami and Vishwa whatever no. So
You mean
can we have
Vidyamanya
some
Tirtharu?
continuation? Sorry?
Do you mean the debate between Karpatri and Vidyamanya Tirtharu?
Yeah, you got it. So there's some documented something we have.
Yeah, there are two letters from Smartha scholars themselves about the final decision of the debate. But since that's not very relevant here, we wouldn't prefer discussing that now. And since many of the people here may not be knowing much about that.
Okay, sir, actually, I just want to know what is the what's say arguments and logical and shastras given from Advaitvadis.
Mainly it was about Apasiddhanta dosha. You can refer to the video on our YouTube channel. We've already made one on that. There's an elaborate video on that topic.
Okay, sorry. So what is the name of video? Apsiddhanta?
No, it's available on our YouTube channel. The debate between Karpatri and Swami Vidyamanya Tirtharu.
Actually, sir, I was searching, but I was not found. That's why.
It's on our YouTube channel only. You can go to our channel Bhakti Deeds.
But it's okay, sir. Okay, I will. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
No problem.
Hare Rama, sir, what we can use in addressing to each other, like in ISKCON generally addressing Prabhu. So it started by Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaja from Bhagavatam. It is a reference. So what is we are generally addressing to each other?
You can call others depending on their age as Bhrata, Bhagini, or Shriman, Shrimati. There's no such
Okay,
specific thing in Tattvavaada as such. That's we just follow what is there in the Dharma Shastras.
okay, okay. Thank you.
Regarding your query that Abhinna Nimitva Karanatva of Brahman and other topics, yes, that will be partially discussed. That will be discussed in the beginning of the course itself. These and basically the topics concerning concerning Brahman, the different tattvas and the relationship and the basics of philosophy, which we will cover in the initial sessions.
Hare Nama. Will we get a certificate after that course?
No, there is no certificate being issued for this course.
Oh, okay, sir. If it is done, that will be good. Actually.
We will think about it after some time. Regarding notes for future study, we do have blog articles and books and publications which we will be publishing on our e-library. So you can refer to them. For this course specifically, we haven't planned anything yet, and in the upcoming months we may release one book on the basics of Tattvavaada in general, which will be similar to the contents of this course only, but that will not be released right away.
Oh, Hare Krishna. My question is regarding is will be any other course after this in continuity like Bhagavad Gita or any other course so that those who are genuinely interested in Tattvavada get to know more about it.
As of now, we haven't planned anything yet. We may do it sometime in the future.
Okay, Mahodaya. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Sir, just like in ISKCON, there is temple and who want to serve in temple, so they can join. So in Madhva also like this, or any different something.
Can you elaborate what exactly you mean?
Just I want to say, sir, just like for example, ISKCON, anybody want to join temple, or they can join. So like in Madhva also same system and any
You
something
mean
different.
to permanently reside at the temple?
Okay, so how they can serve in temple?
In our sampradaya, we don't have anything specifically as such except sannyasa, and that is usually given to those who are brahmanas only. And for those who are interested in rendering services to the temple, they can work as volunteers usually if they are near a proper temple and know the people there, but otherwise they can't stay there like sannyasis as such.
Thank you.
Hare Srinivasa, I have another basic doubt.
Yes.
Why in the Madhva Sampradaya there are always mathas? Why are there never temples? Very rarely temples. Always mathas. What is the difference?
It's pretty much the same thing, except that a mata is where usually sannyasis also reside. But other than the main matas, all the other branches of those matas which you see in other places like Bangalore or Mysore, they're not proper matas as such. They are normal temples only, where the archakas are also usually grihasthas. They're not sannyasis.
Oh, okay, okay. Because I've never heard like Madhva Mandir is very rare. Madhva Mata is for ubiquitous.
Mandira means usually Mandira is just like a small center where simple worship rituals are done. There, the deities are not consecrated properly as per the Agama Shastras, so there are no proper rules and regulations also as such for in a Mandira.
Oh, okay.
In North India, you will find many such places, but in South there are few because most of the southern sampradayas they usually discourage keeping a mandira and usually make it a devalaya or a devasthana, and a devalaya is a place where properly all agamic rituals are followed and all restrictions and rules are strictly followed. So here we don't have many mandiras as such.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, Harish Srinivasa, another doubt.
Tell us.
Um, is it allowed for all the Varnas to do seva in mathas? Like, I'm a Brahmin, I was allowed, I did seva in mathas by serving or something or pouring water or something. Is it allowed for others to do that? Other Varnas?
Deity worship is strictly for the pujaris only. But
That I
other
know.
than that,
I'm
other
talking about
sevas
seva.
at the temple can be done by people from any varna. There are many sevas
Okay.
actually at Udupi in the main Krishna Mata. There were different families who used to do every small ritual like procuring the flowers and other fruits for the rituals, and every that included people of all four varnas actually, and all the people who were present in that region who were native to that village of Shivali. Everyone used to do
Uh,
that. So same is the case with other temples, but nowadays since the last 100 years or so, even at Udupi that's not being followed properly, and the involvement of especially the non-Brahmins has reduced now. So I mean, though it's possible, but it's not being followed right now.
okay. So if now any Shudra wants to do it, they won't allow it.
It depends on the
Okay.
madhvas there and whether they are fine with it, because not all sannyasis
Okay.
are proper sannyasis in this age right now, and
Okay.
there is certain politics also which is going on there, as said by even vidwans like Bananja Govindacharya.
Okay. Thanks,
But
Harish
the agamic verdict matters, right?
Yes, as per the Agamas, if you see the Ishvara Samhita, for example, or Parama Samhita, you'll literally find references for different jobs of people of all four Varnas. And if you read some of them, like the Vishnu Samhita, you'll even find rules of how for people of all four Varnas to maintain and run a temple also. And some also state that people of all four varnas are eligible to become pujaris also, but they can be pujaris only in their respective temple. So anyway,
Okay, thank you.
some of these are disputed, but either way the fact remains that if you see the agamas from an unbiased perspective, literally you won't see many of their practices being followed accurately today. And there are lots of things which have been lost, and so basically the root of the Vaishnava
That is
philosophy,
majorly due to Smartha influence rate on mathas.
not just smartha influence as such, but it's also due to corruption of people due to the influence of Kali Yuga, obviously, and we can see that there are less people interested in spirituality nowadays. That's why we
Uh,
weren't even expecting around 20 or 30 people to apply for this course also, but within 48 hours, to our surprise, we got almost 100 registrations.
it is still the beginning of Kali Yuga. That's why.
Yeah. And regarding the other queries here, the consecration of Vigrahas is done in accordance to the Pancharatra Agamas only, not Vaikanasa. Vaikanasa is a separate philosophy. So for those here who may be confused and who hadn't read our article which we shared in the Telegram group, so Pancharatra is the main darshana, the oldest darshana which was propagated by Sri Vishnu himself as Narayana Rishi, and that is the root of all the Vaishnava philosophies, almost all of them. There is another one by the name of Vaikanasa which was propagated by Vikanasa Maharshi. So that is a separate philosophy, and to become a follower of Vaikanasa, you need to be born to practicing Vaikanasa parents. You cannot join that sampradaya by taking Diksha as such. And their Diksha rituals has to be completed even before the child is born actually. It's done when the mother is pregnant, and that time they perform a ritual where they invoke Vishnu and consider that the unborn child has been given Diksha by Bhagwan. So it's not possible for anyone who is not a practicing Vaikanasa to become a Vaikanasa, but that's not the case with Pancharatra. That's why in all of the other Vaishnava Sampradayas, anyone can take Diksha and become a Pancharatrika. And regarding offline meetings, we don't really have any plans as such because we don't have a proper center where people can meet up, though we may think of that in the future sometime, but right now we don't have a center as such, and there are people from varied locations all across India, so we can't really have an offline meeting since there won't be many people.
Hare Krishna, Bhrata. I have one question regarding the term Tattvavaada. Who actually coined this term Tattvavaada? I heard in one lecture that Sri Vadirajaru termed this Tattvavaada because Dvaita is clearly a misnomer.
Yes, definitely. Dvaita is just means the philosophy or something with regard to two entities. So since this talks about Swatantra and Aswatantra Tattvas, that is the independent and the dependent, so that's why it was termed as Dvaita, but that coinage is actually a later coinage, and that's not quite accurate also, because in the Shastras you will find the meaning of the word Dvaita to be something else, especially in the Puranas. So actually, the name Tattvavaada was popularized by Sri Vadirajaru only because mainly because the philosophy deals with tattva or reality. It's similar to how Shankaracharya's philosophy is called Mayavada because it deals with Maya. But the earliest and original names for both the philosophies was never Advaita or Dvaita. It was Mayavada and Tattvavada. So as far as the person who first coined the name Tattvavaada is concerned, we don't have any proper evidence of it right now, but it's likely that it was popularized by Sri Vadiraja Tirtharu only because he was the one who used it quite a few times in his works.
Understood. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Regarding Nyaya Sudha, we do have a couple of books written by Sri Vishwesha Tirtha Swamiji. They are in English only. They are translated from Kannada to English, and they can be useful to understand the basics of Nyaya Sudha. We will, I think we have shared that in our main group. We will forward that to the course group as well. And regarding Kshatriyas taking sannyasa, only Brahmanas are eligible to take up sannyasa in the first place. Now, if those Kshatriyas in exceptional cases are those with the qualities of a Brahmana and it's known that their swabhava is of a Brahmana, then in such cases it can be given because we do have few people in the Madhva Sampradaya who were like that.
Hare Krishna, Bhrata. What is the basis of to accept one as a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra based on Janma or Karma or both?
Actually, precisely if you see the Shastras, this is one topic which is somewhat ambiguous, and most of the other philosophers haven't been able to explain this. But we will actually cover this during our upcoming sessions in with elaborate details. But for now, we are actually publishing some upcoming books also, where we'll explain about Varnashrama elaborately from the point of view of Tattvavaada. Basically, if one sees the shastras, there is, for example, the Bhagavata Purana 7th skanda only has one shloka which says Yasya Yal Lakshana Proktam, which precisely means that in whom you see what qualities, you need to consider them based on that Varna. You need to consider them to belong to that Varna based on the qualities that they exhibit, even if they are not born in that Varna. Now, this actually refers to something known as swabhava, which we will explain subsequently, because that's one of the basic concepts of Tattvavaada, what we call as swabhava. So swabhava basically is the nature of a soul, of an atma, and that is based on the qualities which are naturally fixed to that atma, and that is what determines its nature, or what it really wants, its true tendencies. There is one more thing called prabhava, which means influence or external influence from others and the external environment, but the main qualities of any soul is determined by its swabhava, which is the basic nature of that soul. So coming to Varnashrama, Varna literally means color actually. And now one may think what relation that may have to color, but actually it refers to how we say that that person showed his true colors. So this actually talks about one's nature. In the 7th skanda, 11th adhyaya of the Bhagavata Purana, there is an elaborate description of different varnas based on the qualities which they exhibit. So Brahmanas have certain qualities, performing tapas, control of the mind, and several others. Kshatriyas, they are those who primarily protect, administrate, and are leaders, and Vaishyas are those involved in trade. Shudras are those who serve others. So Shodati iti Shudraha. One who is sorrowful is called as a Shudra. But here it's said to be a person who is sorrowful because one melts at others' misery, and that is why one can gain that quality to, or that thinking to serve others. So that is actually an important quality, Shudratva. So Madhvacharya himself says in one place, regardless of one's Varna, one should have the quality of Shudratva, because that is the most important. That's why Shudras are considered the feet of society, because they support the society completely. And that quality of Shudratva should be there in everyone. Now coming to Varnashrama, there are actually two types of Varna. So as per Tattvavaada, there is something known as swabhavika Varna, which is the natural tendency of that soul to exhibit the qualities of a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya or Shudra. So this has nothing to do with its birth Varna. Now there is one more thing called Aupadhika Varna. Aupadhika Varna is the Varna based on the Varna of the parents, and that is used in society for rituals like Veda Adhyayana and Upanayana and other samskaras. To determine the eligibility of one to learn the Vedas, Aupadhika Varna is used, because the very samskaras or the rituals required to make one a Dvija are inherited from one's parents. So in Satya Yuga actually there were only Brahmanas in the whole world. Then slowly over time, since the beginning of Treta Yuga, this is said in the 186th chapter of the Shanti Parva of the Mahabharata and the 11th skanda of the Bhagavata Purana also. Since the beginning of Treta Yuga, people started committing actions which were not suited to Brahmanas, and they fell down to other Varnas. Some became Kshatriyas and rulers, then others took up occupations like agriculture, trading, and became Vaishyas, and those who abandoned their samskaras became Shudras. So this is actually eternal, and it's not something created, because these qualities, they exist in exist in varying degrees in different people. So in Satya Yuga, after Satya Yuga, they simply manifested and the jivas got the opportunity to express the qualities suited to them. So coming to Varnashrama, for divisions in society, one's Varna based on their parents' Varna is generally used. But other than that, what determines the way one spiritually progresses, or the way one behaves and one's natural tendencies is determined by their swabhava. So that plays the more important role, and since it is not possible to guarantee or know one's swabhava, usually one's aupadika varna is only used in society. But in exceptional cases, there are possibilities. If one's swabhava is known or can be estimated, then their varna can change. So hope I made that clear. Any more further clarifications?
धन्यवाद श्रीमान.
Okay, regarding about statements in the Vaikanasa and Pancharatra texts which criticizes each other. First of all, as said by us, we are Pancharatrikas, so we do not consider Vaikanasa to be a proper authority if it contradicts what the Pancharatra says. And those are somewhat Arthavadas only, the statements which criticize Vaikanasa, but Vaikanasa philosophy isn't perfect as per us. Since we are not Vaikanasas either way and we cannot follow that either, and Pancharatra was propagated by Bhagavan himself. Vaikanasa was propagated by Vikanasa Maharshi, who was an Avesha of Brahmadeva. So that is not considered as a perfect philosophy by us. Also, in the Varaha Purana itself, Sri Varaha himself says that he mentions certain shastras or the sadagamas, which are the methods, proper shastras through which one can obtain the proper knowledge, and they can be completely followed in their entirety. So those are mainly the Vedas, the Pancharatras, and other methods of attaining him are Bhakti and Yajnas. Also in the Skanda Purana there is one shloka which says that which was quoted by Madhvacharya in the very first sutra of his Brahma Sutra commentary. That is it's from the Skanda Purana, which defines the word Shastra as referring to the Vedas, Mula Ramayana, Mahabharata, and the Pancharatra, and all the Smritis or other Shastras which are in accordance with these. So these are the core Shastras which have to be relied on. So wherever any other Shastra contradicts these, we have to reject them or reconcile them accordingly. So coming to Vaikanasa and Pancharatra, Pancharatra is considered a greater authority by us because of its perfection and lack of flaws, because that is these Shastras which were propagated by Bhagavan to give proper knowledge are absolutely flawless. Other than them, other Shastras aren't perfectly flawless as such. Any more queries?
Hare Krishna Bhrata, I have one question. Actually, it's a little off topic. The jargons we use, Hari Sarvottama, Vayu Jivottama. But considering that Bhagwan Vayudevaru will also become Brahma in the next Kalpa, and all the Rujus have the same Yogyata. So why specifically Vayu Jivottama? Why not Brahma Jivottama or Ruju Jivottama?
So basically when we say Vayu Jivottama, it includes Brahmadeva and the other Rujus also, because Brahma and Vayu are both equal. But regarding the other Rujus, they have not yet attained that position of Vayu yet. They are still doing their sadhana, and once they are ready, they will become Vayu after the current Brahma obtains moksha. Then one by one they will attain the post of Vayu, then Brahma subsequently. So regarding Vayu and Brahma, though both are equal, we give more prominence to Vayu generally because he is said to be the next Brahma, and he is the very life force, or Mukhya Prana as we call him, in all the living entities, and he is responsible for the very existence of the entire universe and all the particles and the objects which we see here. So because of that, he is given slightly more prominence, but actually, factually speaking, he and Brahmadeva are equal only. They are both the Abhimana Devatas of Mahat Tattva.
Understood. Thank you.
Hare Srinivasa, may I ask it out?
Yes.
So you did mention Arthavada. So what is the difference between definition of Arthavada? Because Purva Mimamsas give different definition of Arthavada, which is not accepted by Tattvavadis. So what is the exact definition in Tattvavada of Arthavada?
We accept the same definition given by the Mimamsakas only. In the Purva Mimamsa Sutras, what is said? Arthavada means it's a figure of speech to explain something. Now, Arthavadas can be.
Hyperbole.
No, not always hyperbolic. That's one type of Arthavada. There are several Arthavadas. Even in certain cases, Arthavadas are those which are hyperbolic, but otherwise they can be even statements which are intended to be true, but they explain it in a metaphorical way, or maybe with a simile or any figures of speech, generally which we use while talking. So those are Arthavadas. They are not necessarily exaggerations.
Okay. Okay, so we accept the Purva Mimamsa definition.
Yes, definitely. We actually accept the Mimamsa Sutras also, but we don't accept the conclusions of most of the Mimamsakas that where they consider the shastras to be not accepted literally, or where they believe that there is no supreme being. Those are the parts where we disagree, because Sri Raghavendra Swami has only written a commentary on the Jaimini Sutras called as the Bhata Sangraha, where he explains all the sutras in accordance with Vedanta, and he shows that there is no contradiction between Purva Mimamsa and Uttara Mimamsa, that is Vedanta.
Harishinos Pratap, I have another doubt about this.
Yes.
There was a talk going on in the group, Ashwatha and all, that if you accept the definition given by Mimamsakas of Arthavada, then all Puranas, everything will become Arthavadas. Then you're saying that it is actually accepted now. Which one is true?
Basically, the Shastras, Puranas especially use Arthavadas, but that doesn't mean they're exaggerations. They're different types of Arthavadas, as I said. So that is where we disagree, as I said already, that when the Mimamsakas say that all the statements in the Shastras are exaggerations and they're not actual literal events, that is where we disagree with them. But basically, Arthavada simply means a figure of speech or something that intends to give the Artha, the meaning, which intends to highlight the meaning of that statement. For example, there will be statements like which criticize one thing and will make exaggerated statements, but the intention is to just highlight one particular point. Maybe something like Satyam Vada Dharmam Chara, which is said in the Taittiriya Upanishad. That's not an Arthavada, but in the Puranas you can find similar shlokas or statements saying the same thing, but that will be with certain slight exaggerations. But the main point is the same. So any figure of speech can be considered as an Arthavada. It's not necessary that it should be an exaggeration only. And that's why we disagree with the Mimamsakas on this matter.
How to differentiate that, though?
Basically,
What is
for that you'll need to learn Mimamsa properly, at least the basics of Mimamsa, and to know that. And you'll also need to take a look at the Shastras where they depending on the context of those statements, whether they are actually seriously trying to say something literally, or whether they are simply giving a metaphor or some comparison, or they are exaggerations. So that's why we always recommend learning the Shastras under a guru, or relying only on the Bhashyas of Acharyas, because that is how we can know for sure what the exact meaning of that is.
Shriman, Hare Krishna. So, suppose one person want to learn Shastra from Madhu Sampradaya, so how he can be learned?
Currently, the problem is that there aren't many who are elaborately teaching the Shastras. There is one website of Vyasaraja Mata where one can learn them. Learn certain things like Sanskrit and Dasa Sahityas, all that. They have one online Gurukula where they conduct sessions similar to ours, where they will teach all these. But the problem is, it is true that not many are currently actually doing all this. So currently only Veda Dhyayana is being done by certain people, and some people teach the Puranas. Actually, in every mata we have a certain families belonging to those matas who are given the responsibilities of teaching different shastras or doing certain works. But currently, as of now, only in the traditional gurukulas, mostly only dvijas are accepted there, because they'll be taught all the Vedas and all the complex granthas also. We specifically, and not everyone will have the convenience or the option to go there also.
Sir,
Rather
what
than
was the
how,
site you mentioned?
Can you repeat?
What was site where e Gurukula something was?
We will share the link on our Telegram group sometime once we find it. We don't have it with us right now. You can go to Vyasaraja Mata's website itself and find it there actually.
Okay, धन्यवाद.
Regarding paramparas of Madhvas in North India, there are a few matas in Uttar Pradesh and Bengal also, and in Gujarat and near Bihar, but I don't think proper gurus will be frequently coming there, and there only a few Madhvas will be there, and the archakas of the temple will be residing there, but we doubt if the proper acharyas who are entitled to give diksha will be visiting those matas frequently. So the best option for now will be, if you want diksha, just plan and talk to any of the matas, or talk to someone you know, and or you can consult any nearest Raghavendra Mata, and you can receive diksha from one of the matas in South India itself. That is always recommended. In Bengal, there are few Raghavendra Matas. Actually, in many parts of India, you will find them, even Rajasthan also. And in Maharashtra, there are several branches of Palimaru Mata and Uttaradi Mata especially. The influence of Uttaradi Mata is high, but there Uttaradi Mata, from Uttaradi Mata, it's difficult to get Diksha for certain people unless they can get the chance to meet Sri Satyatma Tirtha Swamiji. Many others there don't really encourage or support others who want to become Dikshita Madhvas.
Brother, if no one is currently teaching, no acharya in any matha is teaching the shastras to those who want to learn, then how do we learn the shastras of acharyas like Dasatirthas, Nyayamrita? How do we learn all those?
For learning shastras like Nyayamrita, you'll need to have good knowledge of Nyaya, Mimamsa and other shastras. That's not something which you can easily jump into now. So one has to
No, Brother, how do we begin to learn all of that? From where?
you'll need to learn that from a proper guru only, and again for that also there are few people, and right now in the traditional gurukulas they are admitting only dvijas for that, where they teach all of these shastras. Vyasaraja Mata actually teaches Nyayamrita.
Okay,
Prerequisites
thanks.
for Diksha and Mantropadesha, there is nothing as such, as long as you can get in touch with a Madhva belonging to any particular Mata who can arrange Diksha for you and get you in contact with the Pitadipati or someone, then you can easily get it done. There is no prerequisite as such. If you are a Dvija, it's better if you have your Upanayana first before receiving Diksha, because Dvijas are given Upadesha of certain Vaidika mantras and Bija mantras also. So if you haven't had Upanayana already, you will have to take Upadesha of that again, and certain rituals will have to be repeated. But other than that, there is no restriction or prerequisite, but you will need to firmly be convinced that you want to be a Madhva and want to follow the philosophy of Tattvavaada, and you will need to accept it as the absolute truth. So unless you are sure of that, don't go for Diksha anytime soon. You can receive mantropadesha of certain mantras which are Bhagavad Nama, and you can chant them or perform japa, but to receive Diksha and become a Madhva as such, you'll need to have sadachara. You'll need to practice the basic duties which are to be followed by every Bhagavad Bhakta, like Brahmacharya, then Shaucha, and there are several such duties given in the Puranas actually. And you will also need to have a good idea of the Madhva Sarvamula Granthas especially, and you will also need to have some exposure to Tattvavaada. I mean, these are very much recommended. So if you have all that, you can get Diksha done. Okay, so due to certain issues, Swamiji has not been able to join us today. So uh, we will inform accordingly if the next session will be tomorrow or next week, whether Shri Vishwadiraja Tirtha will join, and he will only start the actual proper sessions on Tattvavaada. So for now, before we end this, uh, can everyone simply mention in the chat box how many granthas of Tattvavada or Dvaita Vedanta you have read so far, and whether they are the Sarvamula Granthas or any works of our Purvacharyas, so that we can get an idea of how familiar most of the participants here are.
Brother,
Even
I just little I read some shastras like Mahabharata Tatpar Nirnay
yeah, please
and
mention that. If you read
Ma-
none of the Shastras or the Madhva Granthas also, it's fine. Just mention that so that we'll have an idea of how familiar everyone is with the basic Shastras and the philosophy in general.
uh, not nicely none of them, but yeah, little some shastras like Mahabharata Tatpar Nirnay and Gita. I just was reading Gita is also two types Gita Bhashya.
Yeah, there
So
are two granthas on the Bhagavad Gita, the Bhagavad Gita Bhashya and Bhagavad Gita Tatparya Nirnaya.
Bhagavad Gita Bhashya.
That is translated in English, the Tatparya Nirnaya isn't.
Uh, Actually, I have to check. Actually, I downloaded from net, so I have to check.
There is one translation of the Gita Bhashya and Tatparya Nirnaya by one person called Nagesh Sonde. That we definitely discourage everyone from reading, because that's the only English translation of the Gita Tatparya that has a lot of errors and inconsistencies, which the author himself admits in the beginning, and some of the meanings have also been twisted and wrongly interpreted. So that will only cause more confusion to those who are not fully well versed with Siddhanta. Other than that, we do have plans to publish an English translation of the Gita Tatparya Nirnaya sometime. So, but till then, please do not read that book, and you can read the others which we share or we have posted in our main Telegram group either.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so if everyone has no queries, we can end this here. And we would like to ask if our viewers on YouTube have any queries, they can put it in the YouTube chat box. We will wait till that is done. Okay, so as there are no further queries from anyone, we will end the session here for today. The actual sessions will next be carried forward by Shri Vishwadhiraja Tirtharu, and the next session may be tomorrow or maybe next Saturday. We will inform everyone accordingly, and we apologize for the inconvenience.